Grand rising, beautiful people. And did I say grand rising to my kindred spirits? And for those who are new, grand rising to you too, okay? And before we jump into this, go ahead and like this video if you know what my content is about, or just like the video just to show your support. You know what I'm talking about? And subscribe if you find the information in my videos valuable, okay? Each one support one, each one teach one. And my videos are based on my experience, research. Did I say experience? My research. And basically ideas and creativity just to trigger your own creativity. You might take from some of my ideas, or some of my ideas might trigger you into realizing your own authenticity. So I just want you to know, I'm not here to make you think like me. I just want you to think and jump into your own self-healing. So again, this is based on my experience and research and my self-healing, okay? And if it triggers something in you to help others, then like I said, each one teach one, each one help one, each one support one. All right, so let's get on into this. So again, don't forget to subscribe, like, and or leave comments down in the comment section below this video. If you feel the need to share this video, go right ahead. I welcome you to it. So now, I'm not here for no fan base. I'm just here to reach those who can relate to the information I have to give. All right? So I welcome your opinions, your facts, your research and experiences as well. Remember, I just said put that information down below. If there are some questions or comments you feel uncomfortable with leaving below, my contact information is also in the description box right below this video. And I'll do my best to remember to put it at the end of this video, okay? All right, so let's get into it. So let's talk about relationships. We've all had them. I don't care if you're not in one, okay? Well, let's not say everyone. Most of us have been in relationships, all right? And if you're not in one, you've experienced them. If not one, you've experienced at least one. And based on those relationships or a relationship coming out of it, when you're younger, you tend to, not everyone, but when you're younger, some of us have, right after one relationship, jumped into another. And it is based on what you've been taught before about relationship, based on your environment or community, what you've seen and observed and learned behavior, shall I say, okay? And even, like I said, even if you're not in one, you cannot judge a person based on them being single because they're in a relationship. And you can't judge a person just because you've been in a relationship for a long time. Because some of these people are in these relationships and have been in these relationships for a very long time and think it's perfect, or no, it's not perfect, or still in toxic situations and have settled for toxic situations. Okay, think about it. So even some people who are still in these long-term toxic relationships really can't give much advice. And the advice that they do give tends to backfire when it don't work out for the person they've given advice to. Because outside looking in, you can only see but so much. It's just like even with my videos and what I'm teaching. You can only go by what you hear and see because you fully don't know me outside of these videos, except what I tell you. Same thing with people's relationships, based on what you see and what you're being told or what you hear. Okay? It's not factual until you have the full scope of things and both sides. So understand and understand that just because someone is single and not in a relationship and giving advice, they may have come to the conclusion and realize relationships is not for them right now. They may feel a need to continue to heal or focus on their career or just give it a rest. So don't believe the hype when men say or women say, oh, they're not in a relationship because nobody wants them because of their age or their looks, their weight, or their gender or background, what have you. Got to stop judging people, because I'm going to tell you something, and really hear me clearly on this, okay? Because it applies. When you have so much to say about other people because you're not going through what you see the next person going through, that's why I say, don't compare yourself to other people, or don't think that the person that you are observing have to live by your standards, because what's right for you may not be right for them. So in certain situations, you have to get to know the person who's coming to you for advice. You have to not only get to know them or question them to understand or understand what is really going on. And you may have to sometimes include both parties. That's included, to get a perspective of what's truly going on, to be able to process and assist those who are seeking the advice. Okay? So let's talk about some of the games that people play in relationships. And what I have to say, first of all, most of all, relationships is not where you play games. Unless you playing tic-tac-toe, chess, checkers, or something like that as an activity to keep to keep the vibe alive in the relationship, or playing some video games, things that you can kind of relate to, just to have some kind of activity going, as I stated. But games, when it comes to people's hearts and their mind, just know that what you put out, what you're putting out, you're creating a situation, or you're not even creating, you're attracting back what you're putting out. So I don't like to say you're attracting karma, because people be like, what the heck is karma? You know, that's another language. So let's speak our language, okay? So what type of energy, attitude, mindset, action you putting out, you're attracting back to you. So make sure what you are doing, sending, saying is what you want to see in your life. You want to be sure that you can attract that. Even mindset, jealousy. It's in relationships, the blame game, cheating, or sometimes what's tradition, because cheating, I could say, because, you know, in certain relationships, it's tradition to have more than one wife. And some occasions that is rarely seen, where you have multiple men who prefer to be with a one woman, but I don't know. I can't speak too much on that, but I have heard of it, but it's not very popular for a woman to have more than one man. I'm just saying. Doesn't mean that it can't exist. So I'm not here to judge it. So that's why I don't want to speak too much on it. Because I don't want to judge something that I haven't experienced to its full extent. To a full extent. You heard that? To a full extent. So cheating comes in when, and I'll say this, cheating is, with cheating, there's dishonesty or lying, manipulation, doing too much. So where the cheating comes in at is when you're not being fully honest with the person that you're with. Even in these, I'm sorry, hold on just a moment, please. So when you're in a relationship where there is multiple partners and they know about each other, that's a fair deal. There's communication there. Each one knows about the other. But when situations happen, even from the first moment you meet someone else, as far as being in relationships where you can bring in another partner, from the first moment you meet that other person, it should be discussed. Is there a reason to bring somebody else in to the relationship? Is everyone being treated and taken care of fairly? What's the purpose in bringing in another? Is it sexual? Do you and the first person that you're with, the first partner you're with, have a complete understanding that this is something that you wanted from the beginning? Are y'all both equal on that type of thinking? And I'm gonna say this to women. I don't care how much you're attracted. See, when you're younger, your hormones are flying high. And sometimes you feel like you can't control it. But I tell you, when you go through so much hurt, you're gonna learn to control it. But if you really don't like the hurt, if you know what that feels like, and it's hard to say for someone who's just going into a relationship who's never been hurt before, can overstand when it's time to separate yourself from someone who isn't being fair to you, who isn't treating you fairly. But there's always red flags. That's why communication is genuine. And even if you don't communicate everything at the beginning, sometimes as time goes by, certain things arise. Question it when it arises. When it rises. Question it. Be honest with yourself. Because sometimes problems in relationships and failures in relationships really truly teach you to value yourself and love yourself. Also realize too, and I'm not talking about multiple relationships right now, but it is just very important that if you're not satisfied with someone, you need to communicate that. And if the both of you feel it cannot be worked out, then let it go. Be honest from the get-go so the other person can decide whether or not they want to continue. Make it very clear. Don't play games with your words. Because we shouldn't be playing games with people's hearts and minds, because you don't know if you come into it playing games because you done learned it from someone else and you never felt what you're about to put somebody else through. Just think about what you're going to go through. You don't know the detriment that it may be upon you. You may not realize how sensitive you are. You don't put something or did something to somebody else, and when it come back to you, you can't handle it. So let's talk about while you're in relationships. Things happen in relationships. You know, they say give it a certain amount of time, and if you make it past this time period, 2 or 3 year time period, you can, once you get past that 3 year time period, you can get through anything. But be honest once you get past them 3 years, because things happen in relationships, and to one person, you may not even realize they're holding on to something. Even that person, they know they're holding on to something. And it's best to talk about it. And even coming into relationships, when you learn about your partner and you find that your partner is intimidating to you because of their background, their talents, gifts, and skills, or their career, then you might need to communicate that or find the exit sign if you can't handle it, because jealousy will arise. And those relationships where you enter into marriages and have children, and then you decide you want to leave, trust, if you're not the type of person who can be straight up and just say you want out, don't play these blame games. Setting stuff up or creating strategies to exit out the relationship by finding little things to blame the other person for. Red flag, other person in the relationship, the marriage. Red flags. Because it's a setup. They're setting up, instead of being honest with you and just say, look, this is what I learned about myself. This is what I see I can't take. But see, what I notice about people is you don't like to tell the truth about yourself to somebody else. Don't you know that even the other person can see things about themselves? But we got these games where we can't communicate and be honest and exit out the relationship. Because when you're honest, it still creates a connection, especially if there's children involved, where if you find yourself in a bind, the other person is still willing to help you out. There's no fighting or fussing over arrangements with the children. If there's alimony involved, if you were straight up and honest in the get-go, you probably wouldn't have to pay no alimony. Depending on whoever, male or female, because now, you know, the women got to pay, you know, they got women doing some stuff too. So pay attention to red flags. That's whatever kind of relationship it is. It could be friendship, work relationship. These things, they happen. You get set up for the setback, because all they're trying to do is set you back. Always stay on your toes. And you may ask, well, what if one person want out of the relationship? Let them go. Because if they want out, at least you knowing they want out. You can't control what another person is deciding to do. You can't control their thoughts. You can't control their feelings. All you can do is control you. I'm not saying control your emotions, because yeah, if another person want out and you ain't ready, you still got emotions built up in there, then hey, it's all about preparing your mind and your heart to cooperate with what's getting ready to happen. Let it out. It's painful, but you learn from your pain. It happens to everyone. Some people can't handle it. This is why you see certain traumas or tragedies in relationships, because that person was very weak. Yes, I'm gonna call it like it is. You're weak when you take somebody else's life or try to do harm to somebody else because you can't get what you want. It's not like you're defending yourself from them hurting you. It's just that your heart is hurting. But also, two people, you got to be careful when you play with other people's hurt. That's why in the beginning, you get to know a person. Don't be so in a hurry to jump into things, because you these days and times, in all times, you don't know what a person has been through that has made them messed up in the head, psychotic, when it comes to love relationships or obsessive relationships. Be aware. We get so caught up in our feelings instead of trying to control it ourselves. Control ourselves. Stop trying to control other people. Control yourself. And, take your time, because some people, some people can feel it like, oh, this is the one. The other person, she is the one, he is the one. I want this. So be it. I'm not judging those people either, because sometimes it's divinely guided. And how do you know it's divinely guided? You will know, especially in communication and conversations, certain things aligned within you, that aligned with the other, that even certain plans that you both were making, signs, symbols, and synchronicities, things that you see, observe, hear, feel, it all plays into the alignment. I don't want to say play, but it all comes together with that in alignment, where you don't have to take years to get to know a person, or months and months and months to know a person. It's already been set up in the ethers. Okay. So each relationship that we find ourselves in, no matter what kind of relationship, work relationships, friendships, romantic relationships, marriage relationships, whatever the relationship is, they're meant for growth. If you see me looking down, I'm looking at my notes. So I can, I just like to keep things organized. But they are meant for growth. You're learning about the other person and learning about yourself, because whatever you learn about the other person, you're going to kind of reflect back on you. You find similarities. Sometimes you end up comparing things about yourself and the other person and the situation, how you met. You make it make sense. Some situations come along, when I say about, well, how you know is meant to be. Sometimes it is, even if it's meant to be, it can bring about a spiritual awakening. And some situation, if it's toxic, or if it's if you attract something that's needed for that time being, and you don't stay together, you attract something into your life that causes a spiritual awakening, They were only there for that purpose. Certain situations in our lives just come about to help us with our spiritual growth, because we are not eternal human beings. We come into this dimension. I'm speaking on this dimension, Earth, where we are right now, for growth and evolution. We're constantly evolving. And if you don't believe so, go back and get the receipts based on what has happened in the past before you came along, before you enter into this dimension, into this earth atmosphere to start your lessons and growth. It's all about learning, eternally growth, evolving. It's an eternal evolution. While you're here, for the whole time, I know you say forever, but for as long as you are in this human existence, it's about learning. Take advantage of it. Also, it's about overstanding and understanding your mission to utilize your creativity, your gifts, talents, and skills to bring something to the table, to leave something on the table, hanging on the wall. And even if not for the whole world to see, maybe it's just for family and friends to have the honor and pleasure of having met you during the time you've been here. Your energy leaves a stamp in the ethers when you're long gone. For others on your bloodline, or people that you have known or that have known you, for their growth and evolution. Like I said, you can't be in a cave forever and think you've learned so much about the world without experiencing the full human experience, coming in contact with other people, places, and things. It's a situation where you go into what I call hermit mode, or a time where you spend a lot of your time alone to introspect and reflect back on you, not having to go out and be involved in your community for a while so that you can heal, or so you can tune in to your spirituality and what's guiding you on your path, if you're still in tune with your spirituality. And I did not say religion. It's a difference, because we're spiritual beings having a human experience, and not the other way around. Because you live forever for those who know, for those who are aware of that. If you're not aware and you don't believe this, then, like I said, I'm only here to relate to those who can relate to me and what I am sharing. I'm not here to make you think like me. It's just to plant the seeds for some, and for others, for that some, you may not get the full advantage of what I have to bring forward. If it could just be planting a seed and for someone else to help it grow. Whoever you come in contact, relationship-wise, work relationship, whatever kind of ship you're on. So in our growth and evolution in relationships, there is a such thing called power couple. But remember, those are the ones, where they have this connection that I spoke about. Power couples, they succeed not only in their relationship because they're organizing, they're communicating, and they're building together. They've come together with a common business interest, spiritual awareness, connection to build on towards a mission, a purpose. And not a lot of people get to experience that. But just know that those persons who do find those type of situations, comparisons, they have worked on themselves individually. They have grown and they have did the shadow work. What's the shadow work? Being honest with the dark side of things of yourself and working on those things to enlighten and find peace, harmony, and balance within yourself, where you know how to give and reciprocate what's being given to you. You're aware of who you are internally, and you're very familiar with your environment. You've mastered some things about yourself because of interactions with others in the past for your growth. So when you're fully aligned with within yourself, you will attract someone for you to be in a situation that's called a power coupleship. You will attract that. Some of us, even if we're in alignment with ourselves, we may just attract others of our spiritual tribe. May not necessarily everyone goes into a romantic relationship and builds on a career together. So just know there's other facets of life. I may not speak on all of them, but not necessarily everybody that is in alignment with themselves is going to or want to be in a relationship or a romantic situationship. I hope I made myself clear. And if there's some kind of misunderstanding or you want to add on, please do. Relationships aren't about games, manipulating other people's minds so you can be controlling of the situation. It's not being controlling the other person. It's about controlling yourself and the other controlling themselves. Understanding and understanding that we come together and it's okay to agree to disagree. Understand and understand how to negotiate disagreements to make it work for the best for the both of you. Communication is the key. Like I said, before you get into a power couple situation, you're already in full awareness of your wholeness. You've come complete. You're not looking for someone to complete you. You complete yourself. Let's get that one straight. So many people are looking for somebody to complete them because, something about themselves they ain't got right. Well, what makes you think someone else that you think can complete you wants to complete you, wants to help you with all that BS? Keep that in mind, because not everybody wants to put up with that. Because one person feel like if I worked on myself, if I did my shadow work, put my BS in check, that's enough nurturing that I want to do right there. Outside of nurturing children that come into the equation. Because if you're not complete within yourself, it may not work out. And if you stay in a relationship, it might turn toxic. Or the person who's already complete is going to outgrow you very fast. They're going to outgrow that situation very fast. Be aware. Make sure you're complete and whole. Because we all come here with the same energy of positive and negative energy. This is why if we have too much of one energy, we become imbalanced, and we have to do some shadow work to get back into balance and alignment. And once you're in a relationship where you're both the whole, it's not to say it's going to always be perfection. You're going to stumble and fall a little bit, but you make sure you have someone who's going to give you that support, and vice versa. It's about giving and receiving both ways. You sometimes the giver, you're sometimes the receiver, and vice versa. So I'm not going to speak on a lot about relationships unless you have some questions or some you want to give some input. You know, I do welcome the input. Even if you hear something in me that needs to be critiqued, and I don't mean my looks, because how I look is my business. How you look is your business. Just because I can't see you, and you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I put myself out there, but I already know how I want to bring my looks to this table, to this forum, or to this platform. So we're not talking about that. Let's stick to the topic at hand. So even in relations to wanting to be single, ladies and men, get out of your feelings because of some of the bad experiences you've been through. You know, stop trying to relate other people's situation to yours. If you single because you know you can't get nobody else, you feel too old, because it's all about what you put out. If you feel you're too old to be in a relationship, then there might be others where you, that's in your environment that don't want to be with you, because you attracted those who feel that you're trying to talk to too old. They're going to think, oh, well, you're too old, sir. You're too old, ma'am. Whatever you think the reason why you aren't in a relationship might be that reason. Whereas others who are in alignment with themselves, just know they've outgrown relationships. They have a relationship with the Most High, with themselves. They got other reasons for being here. They're here on a mission. They may be in full awareness that when they get to a certain point in their life where they know they're not cut out for being in a relationship, a coupled relationship, a romantic relationship, because they already know their time is limited here, and they have a purpose or mission to complete before they move on. Or there could just be personal reasons, like what I stated. You can't get a relationship, or the fact that you just want to focus on your career. You want to focus on your spiritual growth. You don't have time for that. Why do we make people's age? Because there are people older than you, older than me, still dating and getting married. And you ask me, well, what you want to do, Anita? What you want to do? Go back and watch my other video and find out. Because I ain't gonna tell you can't this. But anyway, we can probably delve deeper into this subject, but I don't want to take it there unless, you know, I get some feedback on it, and then, you know, that feedback will create other topics to discuss in regards to the main topic, which might be or is relationships. whether it's friendships, career relationships, or however it may be. But just remember, as I've always stated, I'm not here to make you think like me. I just want you to think. I give you information that trigger your creativity so that you can tap into your authenticity to self-heal. Okay? All right. Thank you so very much. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate you. Just if you're just sitting over there listening and looking, I appreciate the energy. Okay? And you might say, well, what if it's bad energy? I know how to transmute that, boo-boo. Because sometimes bad energy just might be all about they may not fully understand. Or they might have a mission to try to stunt my growth or throw a wrench in my engine and try to stop it. And I have to transmute that wrench and melt it down to be a new part of the engine, or to fix, to fit to the engine, to keep it, to make it run even better. All right. All right. Peace out, y'all. All right. Stay vibrating high in your frequency. And I send love, unconditional love to you all. Take it in. All right, bye.